Well, today marks the start of Black History Month, and we want to share with you an exhibit at the Kitsap History Museum called The State of the Union in Black and White. It illustrates part of the African-American story through artifacts, images, art, and literature, what not always comfortable to see and hear. But the man behind it says sometimes that's exactly the point.
Hopefully, some of you would find part of this exhibit offensive. If not, future generations will probably repeat the course.
Roosevelt Smith's collection, often a cruel reminder of slavery, racism, and the abuse of African Americans through the centuries.
Shock value many times would awaken people consciousness. So I use each piece to talk about Black history or African American history.
Roosevelt has been collecting these pieces for decades, often traveling with them and speaking to students and others. It also shows how blacks are celebrated through the years. There are paintings from black artists, busts of famous African Americans like boxer Joe Louis.
This man did so much for the country during that period. The bad side or the reality of it is that there was restaurants that he could not go to. There was hotels that he could not stay in.
The mistreatment of black folks over the years is everywhere in these displays, many controversial and, yes, offensive.
This piece is the Jolly Inn. It was made in Seattle, Washington in 1914. These are pieces that were in your home, not in black homes, but in white homes. This is from Iowa. You could dress your kid as a Negro, with the hair and the lips.
There are ID tags worn by slaves, hoods, and written threats from the Ku Klux Klan. On the wall, a picture of a black Betty Boop, the iconic cartoon. Because Roosevelt says the artist who originally created this persona was a performer in Harlem.
This white performer comes in, sees the persona, grabs it, takes it to Uptown, and the rest is history.
But Roosevelt says we can't forget this part of American history. And exhibits like this help start conversations, sometimes difficult, about race in this country. He often cites a founding father, Benjamin Franklin, who spoke and wrote about blacks being inferior until, at 54, he visited a school for ex-slaves.
He engaged. Then he started doing a little research. Then he found out, oh my God, they're not inferior. For the rest of his life, that was on his platform, saying that, oh my God, blacks are not inferior. These pieces illustrate reality, things that have happened, these things are produced.
Roosevelt believes ultimately this display, these pieces are a starting point, a way for people to seek out more information about the African American experience in their country.
To combat the call for not teaching Black history.
Roosevelt also takes portions of his display around the state to schools and teaches students through it. And he's actually traveling out of state to a school to do it here soon. And if you want to see that exhibit at the Kitsap History Museum, Brian, you're going to have to move pretty quickly. It's been there for a while, and we're told it's going to come to a close here relatively soon, but something really worth seeing.
Absolutely. Looks very, very interesting, and a very interesting man there telling these great stories. Thank you so much, John. Great story.